Good morning. How are you? It's nice to be with you today. Do you have some tea or coffee? Are you ready to let's chat? Okay, so Ollie doesn't want to make his, come here Ollie, I want to make you do you. Come say hi. He's popping from me today, but okay, so I hope I don't have hat hair because here I took my hat off because it was intrusive in the camera. So let's see if we can get through this without any issues. Okay, so what I thought, you guys know how I love to use like parables or metaphors, like methodology, mermaid methodology, okay? And so what I would like to do is use this particular learning, teaching moment as a metaphor. And basically what it is because I have been experiencing some of this particular experience within my life in the last probably 3 or 4 months. I wanted to talk about it because I bet you if I'm having the issue, I bet you might be having the issue. Well, I'm thinking that we're all like a shoal family, so feel rest assured that you might have these particular instances in your own life, and let's see how we can navigate through them and work through them as little merry maids or mermaids or mer people, mer folk. Okay, so I liken this to friendships, an anchor. And how I do that is, so your friends may be the anchor. And if you've ever been in a boat or you've been, set sail or anything, you know that when you're in the boat and you anchor the boat, the anchor goes down into the sand, right? And you want to lock it into place. And then what will happen is the boat can have like a part of free range. It'll be able to go a certain distance around, like a diameter, right? Or perimeter. But then it always gets pulled back in. Like it can never really go all the way out to sea because it's being anchored down, right? And so I kind of liken that to sometimes friendships can be that way, and not in a good way. I'm speaking of it on the opposite spectrum of feeling like that I've recognized that there's been several people in my life, and I swear, I feel like the universe is using all of these beautiful opportunities for me in life to experience things so that I can gain more clarity and understand, more significantly where my life is going and what's happening to me and occurring in my own life. And the reason I say this is because I think that sometimes people, and you tell me if you've noticed this in your own life, like it may be time for us to re-examine, and this is what I've been doing, is to re-examine those friendships and relationships that we have in our life. And not that we need to like just completely cut them out or, anything, or be drastic in our measures when we're doing that. But I think what's vitally important is to re-examine these relationships and then allow the universe to remove those people from our life. Because if we're not on the same vibrational frequency as other people, like say for instance, you have a friend that's always gossips or always talks bad about people, or just really never has anything good to say about uplifting and the highest and greater good for other people, I can rest assure you that when they're not speaking to you, they're most likely having that same particular behavior with other people that they're communicating and spending time with, right? So the other aspect of that is that if you notice that you're always around this type of person, it pretty much means that you're probably like that too. Because if not, you would not be able to vibrationally interact with that person. It's like the laws of the universe, law of attraction. Like only attracts like. So if you are attracting this type of person, or you're attracting someone that's always sick, like friends that are always sick or something, or you're attracting, these victim rolled friends that it seems like something's always wrong with them. Have you ever had those kind of friends? Like, it seems like unless their life is filled with drama or something's going on or something's taken place, it's like there's never anything good to talk about. Like nothing uplifting, or like what kind of beautiful books have you been reading, or how are you expanding as a human being, or what kind of experiences have really taught you a lesson in life lately, or you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. And I feel like I've noticed like the whole anchor thing of being a friend is like I said, it's not in a good way. I noticed that it was okay, and this is my perspective on it. Like I had this one particular friend. Actually, there's been a few of them, but they have kind of like gradually gone away. They've swam away, so to speak. But I had this one particular friend, and she seemed to be very optimistic and super, like, externally she would always say how happy she was for me, and she's so thrilled and excited that I'm getting this, or you know, I've been blessed with this particular thing, or I've been blessed with my dream home, or I've been blessed with getting a publisher to publish my book, and I found my desires and my dreams in life, and now they're coming true. But on the opposite side of that, it's almost like when she saw things happening, she would say these things verbally like, oh, I'm so happy for you. But then she would turn around and like, it's almost like she would side smack me, because she would say things like derogatory, almost to where I was like, I think there's underpinnings of either this person's jealous really, and she's not super really happy for me. Have you ever met those kind of people where you think that they're like really sweet and kind and they want your highest and best and greatest good, but then when it actually starts to happen, it's kind of like putting that anchor in the water. They allow you to like, okay, that's great and wonderful, Raquel, but as soon as you start getting too far out, they'll kind of pull you back like the anchor does. Like it'll never let you get like really you being super confident about yourself. You know, you can get this far, the extension of the anchor, but if you start going way out and thinking that you're this and all of these actual things start happening and they're visually manifesting, it's almost like they're secretly envious of you, or they really like, is that lighting really bad right now? It's the sun's shining in. Okay, I might have to stop the video, but I recognized this when I had mentioned something and it was like, yeah, you know, it looks like I'm going to be moving to Carmel and I'm going to get my dream home, right? And it's still a little process in waiting, because there's some finality, you know, final things that have to be taken place, and you know, crossing T's, dotting I's, you know, the legalities of it all. And so it's not something that's just going to happen like immediately, but it's a preparatory thing right now. And it's like when they make comments about like, oh, that's wonderful, but you know, I mean, it took me 5 years to get my dream home, so, you know, don't be surprised if it, you know, maybe that's not what God has planned for you. And here's the thing, you guys, let me just explain to you, like, the way that sometimes, and no offense to my Christian friends, but this is my perspective on it now, after being two religions very devoutly, very enthralled in the religion, is that I do not see God. That was always the biggest conflict that I had in my life, is that people see God in a way of this mastermind sitting on this cloud, and it's like he gives us trickles of things if we are deserving of them. And I'm here to say that through the law of attraction, I know that that is not true, because when I used to be a Christian and I was living the gospel and I was living the commandments to the fullest of my ability, like I was really like, I'm hardcore, I'm an all or nothing kind of person. So if I'm gonna like dive into a religion, or I'm gonna dive into something, like even with law of attraction, like anything, dive into anything, do you get it? Mermaid metaphors here all the way. But if I dive into anything in my life, I really go full throttle. Like there's no like, I'm gonna just, you know, stick my little toes in the, or my little fins in the water. No, I'm gonna dive head first all the way down to the bottom and really, really become absorbed in it. And so when I did this with religion, I noticed that other people that were living a non-religious life and a non-Christian life were getting all of these desires that were following the law of attraction. And I'm like, okay, I don't get this, because why am I doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, like by technical Christian terms, but I'm freaking, my life sucks balls. Like my life sucks, you know, in a sense. Like it was like, you know, I mean, we don't need to go into detail, but I mean, there was a lot of things that just were not working out for my best interest. You know what I mean? Like any of my desires that I wanted, my dreams, nothing freaking was happening for me. And I was just like, never could understand that. Like I didn't understand. And that's why it never made sense to me. And if that's why it doesn't make sense to you, that's because it's a flawed premise. It's a flawed premise when you believe that you have to wait in the midst of like, oh, please, when I'm worthy enough and I've repented enough and I've been forgiven enough, then God will give me my dream home. Then God will give me this brand new vehicle. Then God will give me a book deal for, you know, for my books that I've been writing. And no, that's not actually true. It's all in your perception of allowing things to happen without a resistant matter, right? So if you allow things and you allow the universe to reward you with things, that is how God rewards you. God is not, there is no God sitting on a cloud saying, okay, now you have not gotten it right yet, Raquel. You can't have this. Because as long as you remove the resistance from your life, you can have anything that you want. There's nothing that you cannot be. There's nothing that you cannot do. There's nothing that you cannot accomplish. Be, do, or have. There is nothing that you can be, do, or have in life if you line your energy up with it. And I am proof of that, because once I started to recognize, like, I remember laying on the couch one time, and this is when, probably 2 years, you know, a year and a half or 2 years before I actually left my marriage, I was really diving still into the scriptures and trying to understand this, and it just was so conflicting in my heart and soul, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me and why I just kept feeling like this doesn't feel right. Everything that I've ever been living in my life, like, it doesn't feel right. Like, you know how, have you ever felt like that? Like it just doesn't add up. It's freaking not adding up. And so the reason that it's not adding up is because it's a flawed premise when we believe that way. And so I'm not here to say that, like, I totally believe in God, but I don't believe in God as this one entity that is sitting on a cloud telling us when to do what, how to do what, when we're worthy of something, when we're not worthy of something, doing this and doing that, and pulling things from us and taking things. It's like all in the realm of the law of attraction, universal laws. Like, they have never been proven wrong. Like, there is no way to not see. If you look for those signs, there's no way to not see and recognize that God, source, the universe is working in our favor. And so I kind of went off a little bit on that, but I think what I was trying to say is that this particular friend that I thought was a friend, completely, like, when she realized, like, it didn't take me very long for me to, like, line up with that energy for my book to be done. Like, it didn't even take me 2 hours to write this first book. And I have like 13, like, total of 13 books. Like, I've already started on the second, third, and fourth book. But I haven't finished the illustration for, you know, The Tale of Mary Maid Scarlet Rose. That's the book that's going to be published, like, within 12 weeks, right? And so I really think that we should really maybe have a different, like, take a seat back and just kind of like evaluate where your friendships are. Like maybe take each friendship and really start really looking at it. Look at yourself most importantly, and remember to heed those feelings, because I kept thinking, there was something in my mind and in my heart every time she would say something, like it almost seemed like it was a compliment with a backhanded jab. And so I was like, okay, am I crazy, or did that kind of sound intuitively in my soul, in my heart? I was feeling like that sounded like she was a little pissed that I got my way or got my dreams really, really quickly. So the culprit of it all was when I realized shit was going down. And this was when I realized that I had put a blog post on my blog, my website, about the incident with my dad and him taking the truck back. He had given Jeffrey and I the truck, but we had never gotten the title from it. And so my next video is going to be all about that, and like things are always working out for us, because this was a beautiful experience after everything that happened. So I know that things are always working out for us, but anyway, so my whole point is that this particular person, you know, texted me, and after she had apparently read that blog post, and it was almost like, it wasn't almost, okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty. This is how I honestly felt, and I really believe it's true now, because it manifested in a way that was like, I was right again. I should still always listen to my gut. Is that she sent me this message about how that, you know, when my dad took the truck or whatever, that I should be, you know, understand that God, you know, gives and takes, and that, you know, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, it was unfortunate that happened or whatever, but it was almost like she enjoyed, like, that something negative was happening to me. And that's how my gut, my soul, my heart told me. And whether that was true on her part or not, it's what I'm feeling, and my feelings are the only ones that matter. Do you understand what I mean? So remember that. Your feelings are the only ones that matter. And so if people try to tell you, oh, no, Raquel, that's not what I meant. Oh, no, Raquel, that's not what I was talking about. No, you've got it all wrong. You know what? 9 times out of 10, we never have those things wrong. It's our intuitive, our spirit telling us that, you know what? These people really don't have our highest and best good. They've got some insecurities that they want us to succeed. But if you start to overexceed them and you become more successful, they're gonna pull that anchor back and keep you. No, you can go this far, but if you're gonna get past me, or you're gonna make more money than me, or you're gonna be a little bit more successful than me, or you're gonna have more followers on Instagram, I'm gonna jerk that shit back, because you can't have it that way. No. You're good as long as you stay in the confines of your parameter, Raquel. And it's like, hell no, I'm not putting up with that crap anymore. I'm sick and tired of people treating me like that. And I swear to God, I'm like, now I'm like on the totem pole of I have 2 friends, legit friends that I talk to, you know, consistently. One way more than the other. But I feel that these are genuine friends. That's like, okay, they really are true friends. And so, but anyway, so my whole thing is, you know, really start to look at, if you're feeling a certain way and you feel like a friend is being an anchor and not in a good way, you might want to reevaluate and take a step back and look at this particular relationship, because you know what? It may not be for your best and highest good. And it's better to not always linger. It's like a lifesaver, like keep holding on to the freaking float when you need to just let the bitch go into the ocean. You know what I mean? Never to return, never to see him again. Okay, so final cap off on that whole story about that friend is that when she realized, when I had told her that I was getting my dream home or whatever, she completely stopped following me on Instagram, stopped being friends with me, never talked to me through text again. And it's like, okay, I was right again. And I'm just like, okay, I am never not listening to my gut ever again. And I heed everything. If I feel the Spirit influencing me to go lock that window in the guest room, then I'm freaking gonna lock that window in the guest room, even if it's out of nowhere and I'm thinking, oh, I should probably go and check to see if my car's locked. Then I'm gonna go and check to see if my car's locked. Like, that's what we need to recognize, you guys, is stop ignoring those inspired little moments, because that is God, that is Source, that is the universe talking to us and telling us what is best for our highest and greatest good. Because God loves us so much. Source loves us so much, like so much. And God loves this other person, this person that I thought was a friend. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you to think that I'm saying this and I'm like totally throwing that person under the bus. What I'm saying is, some people we just don't need to bring to dinner. Do you know what I mean? You can be acquaintances with people, or you can be like associative with them, but that doesn't mean we have to bring them to dinner. That even means that some family members, you don't bring them to dinner. You keep them there, and not because it's, that you don't love them or anything, but it's because you love yourself and the way that you feel, and what's happening with you is more important than what's happening with these other people. And I think so many times we try to accommodate these people because we want to be accepted, or we want to, to satisfy them in some way, or we don't want to feel pompous or like proud of ourselves, or like, no, I'm freaking happy as a lark that I'm getting everything that I want in life. And there's nothing wrong with that. God wants that for you. He wants that for my friend. He wants that for everyone. But if you're completely like really stifling people because you don't want them to be successful, that really has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them and that's their stuff they need to work through, and they will. Just like I need to work through stuff on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all kinds of stuff that I need to work on my own. But God loves me, God loves that friend, God loves you, God loves every process that we go through to recognize what it is for us to expand in life. And I think that that's so vital and so important for us to look at, is that we need to really put ourselves first. And that sounds selfish. Do I practice selfishness? Absolutely, yes, because that is the happiest that I've ever been in my whole life. When you put yourself first above anybody, above a husband, a wife, a friend, family members, parents, clergymen, bishops, prophets. You must put yourself and what you feel before anyone, children, anyone. And that's, sometimes people go, oh, well, that's easy to say, Raquel, but it's not easy necessarily to do. Yeah, it actually is easy to do. It's not that hard. We just make it hard because we want to gratify everyone. We want to not feel like, well, we need to be humble because, for some reason, if you're a pompous, confident person, that you're not a nice person. And that's not true, because I feel like I'm really, really a super nice person. I know that I'm a super nice person. Everyone's a super nice person. Everyone has those qualities and those godlike attributes within them, because we're all godlike. We come from Source, that's our inner being, is godlike. So we all possess those type of traits. And anyway, so that was my analogy and my mermaid metaphor, and I hope that you felt that this served you. And I just want you to know how much I love you. And if you will subscribe, that will be great, because you'll give a mermaid her fins if you subscribe. Also, I'll share, I was going to share something with you, but I'll share it with you on the next video. So, as always, I'm yours until my next swim. Bye! Ciao!